Teflon TV. Teflon TV. What up, my people? You know who it is. It's the Don. Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the string. It's the Don. Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the string. And what the deal, my people? And I'm back at you with another one. And this one right here is the end game for Victarion Greyjoy. How it ends for him in A Song of Ice and Fire. And I'm going to get right into this. And we're going to break it down real quick for you, Teflon style. Now, Victarion splits his Iron Fleet, which consists of 90 ships, into 3 squadrons and sets sail for Marine. Now, at this time, he's rolling with the Dusky Woman. What is known of her is this. She's a beautiful brown-skinned woman. She was a slave on Lice, or Lise, or whatever you want to say it, or however you pronounce it. I should know how to pronounce it, so I have audiobooks, but I still mess it up. Euron gives her to Victarion as a gift, and Victarion refuses her at first. But then Euron says that if he doesn't take her, she's going to be killed, and Victarion then decides to take her. Now, Victarion takes this chick with him aboard the Iron Victory, and he has her in his cabin that basically as a sex slave and a servant. Now, Victarion, not as dumb as some would like to believe, but still not that smart, reminds himself at this point that all of Euron's gifts are poison, and he decides that he wants none of his brother's sloppy seconds, and that he would slit her throat and throw her into the sea and use it as a blood sacrifice to the drowned god. Now, somehow, for no explanation, for no reason, he never quite gets around to doing it. Now, Victarion then starts to dig this chick, and the fact, what he likes about it is what he says is that he likes the fact that she doesn't talk back. Now, this is because Euron cut her tongue out, and that is the reason why she doesn't talk back. Now, during the voyage to Slaver's Bay, Victarion spills his guts and confides his innermost thoughts to her. So, from that, I think this is what we have to take from that. And this is what we must remember. Euron's gifts are poison. Now, Victarion knows this, but for some unknown reason, he doesn't act on his feelings. I think the second thing we have to take from this is, if you have a brother, I know some of you may have brothers or know people who have brothers or sisters or whatever, you know how he acts. You know what he's into. You know what he's not into if you grew up with someone. Now, Euron, who slept with Victarion's wife, knows probably what he likes, finds attractive in a woman. And it seems that he picked the right chick for him. And by knowing his brother, I think that cutting out her tongue serves maybe 3 points. Now, point number 1 it would serve would be he can't question her. All right. Point number 2 would be he says Victarion himself, he likes her because she can't talk back. Now, I bet that Victarion Greyjoy's ex-wife might have nagged him. And I bet you, Euron being his brother, knew this. So I think that him taking it out helps him out and makes him want to be around this chick. And the third point I think it serves, and he thinks for some reason that since she doesn't have a tongue, and this is Victarion I'm talking about, she can't report anything back, so he spills his guts to her. You know, I don't understand it, but that's what he thinks. So that is what's going on with her. Now, during the voyage, a red priest of a lord named Moqorro was found clinging to wreckage out in the sea. Now, from the gate, when the crew sees Moqorro, they want him killed, all right? At the first sight of him, the Dusky Woman hisses. And this is the only sound we hear this bitch make, all right? So the people at this time that Victarion trusts the most say kill him. But Victarion is ready to act and kill Moqorro. But Moqorro isn't scared. He's cool. It said he's like cool like a cucumber. Now, once again, Victarion goes against his will, and this time the will of his people, and keeps him alive. And also allows him to treat his wounded hand, which he says, Moqorro says, will kill him if he does it. And he gets Victarion to let him do this behind closed doors. Now, Moqorro, apparently uses magic on Victarion, and his hand is turned to a charred, blackened state that crackles and has smoke coming out of it. I think that this is blood magic, and I think it's the same blood magic that was used on Khal Drogo, as that the sounds that come from the tent are the same sounds that come from Victarion's cabin. Now, we know that Mirror Master double talked Dany down, you know what I mean? She's skilled her with the talk to allow her to do that. And I think that Moqorro is doing the same thing with Victarion, and I think he's just giving this man truths along the way. I knew a guy that was the master of the backhanded compliment, which is something similar, not exactly like it. But I remember one time he said to this dude, so I think it was something, he was like, yo, you're one of the best rappers I've ever heard. I haven't heard that many, but something like that, you know what I mean? So that's the way it goes. So I'll give you a little bit more example of something of that specifically later. But, so we must remember at this time, Moqorro can see the future in the flames. And this is the number one reason why he is not scared. He knows what's going to happen. Now, Melisandre, she says, the first thing that she looks for in the flames is if someone's going to do harm to her. That's the first thing she tries to find. And Moqorro, though everyone believes that he is so much more skilled than Melisandre, he seems to imitate Melisandre's ways all the time. I mean, you could remember the time Melisandre had Stannis burn the floor, and she said she'd do it for better winds. Now Moqorro gets Victarion to kill his maester, saying that his death would bring good winds. And they both worked, and they both earned trust by doing that method, right? So still, the Iron Victory crew does fear Moqorro. And then they call him the Black Flame when they have robes made for him. Victarion takes a sail and have it made for him, and they start calling him the Black Flame. And they get a little bit more scared of him when they see him like that. And that also backfires on Victarion, who we thought that would make people like him more, but it doesn't. Now, in the Winds of Winter sample chapter, Moqorro tells Victarion that in order to bind Daenerys' dragons to the Iron Captain's will, Victarion must claim the dragon's horns, Dragonbinder, with blood. So he has to claim the dragon with the dragon horn. He must claim the dragon horn, Dragonbinder, with blood. All right. So, what's Victarion's fate? Because that's basically where we are left off with him there. And now we can get down to the nitty-gritty. What is Victarion's fate? So let's break it down. He's going to die. He will die. He's going to die. There ain't no doubt about it. He's going to die. He's not Azor Ahai. His hand smoking doesn't mean he's being reborn. That is not what's happening to him. Trust me on this one. Trust the Don. All right? So, this is how, and this is why I think he's going to die. Now, I've said already that Moqorro is double talking Victarion. And this quote that I'm going to tell you, I think, basically spells out his double talk. Now, Moqorro says, and this is in A Dance with Dragons, the Victarion chapter, "The Lord of Light has shown me your worth, Lord Captain. Every night in my fires, I glimpse the glory that awaits you." Now, Vic takes that shit as like, "Yes, motherfucker," and I'm gonna have this shit. I'm taking it all. And we see this dude get gassed up when he's by the horn in the Winds of Winter. Now, he has 3 thralls agree to blow it. And after, the dusky woman bleeds his wound into a bowl. Then Victarion takes the blood and rubs it into the horn and murmurs to himself softly, "My horn, dragons." So he thinks that when the horn is blown, because he rubbed his blood into it, that he's going to have possession of these dragons. Now, and he thinks that because Moqorro said that, if you have in order to claim the horn, you must use blood. So this dude believes he's going to rub his blood into it, and that's going to work. All right? Now remember, he can't read the glyphs. All right? He can't.
He can't. So he's trusting Moqorro. Everything Moqorro said, he's going on. We're hearing what Moqorro is saying, telling him what's on the glyphs. And we know that Moqorro's is bad news because Quaithe says to Dany, "Hear me, Daenerys Targaryens. The glass candles are burning. Soon comes the pale mare, and after her the others, Kraken and Dark Flame, Lion and Griffin, the Sun's Son and the Mummer's Dragon. Trust none of them. Remember the Undying. Beware the Perfused Seneschal." So we have to break this down in the groupings. All right. So Kraken and Dark Flame, I think we all agree that it's Victarion and Moqorro. Lion and Griffin, I think we all agree that is Tyrion and Jon Connington. The Sun's Son and the Mummer's Dragon, I believe, is Quentin Martell and Aegon the Fourth Targaryen. Fake Aegon. That's who I believe that is, right? And I believe the Mummer is Varys. All right. The next line from that is, trust none of them. So I think that most people that read this book and think that Quaithe is on Dany's side. And I am one of those people that fall into that belief that she is on Dany's side. So I think that if she's telling them to specifically trust none of them, they're not all to be trusted. And I think, to say it in regular terms, so I think she's saying to Dany like this. She's like, Dany, I can talk to you now because the glass candle is burning. Don't trust none of these mugs. They all dirty. They all up to something in their own way. I think that's what she's saying to her. And I think that we can trust her on what she's saying. So, Victarion's fate is tied into this quote by the double-talking Moqorro. And this is what it says. Your brother did not sound the horn himself, nor must you. Moqorro pointed to the band of steel. Here, blood for fire, fire for blood. Who blows the hell horn matters not. The dragons will come to the horn's master. You must claim the horn with blood. All right? So, if we read between the lines, he's saying it doesn't matter who blows the horn at all. It's bound by blood. And to me, if it's already bound to Euron, and that's why he gave it to Victarion, it doesn't matter who tries to blow it. Or because the dragons are coming to him. It says the dragons go to whoever the horn's master is. Right? So if he's 10 miles away, it doesn't matter 1,000 miles. When the horn's blowing, it's going to him no matter what. And Moqorro never says at one time to rub your blood into the horn. I think people may have missed that or just think that he never says that. And Victoria I guess, thinks of it himself and just starts rubbing his blood into that. Now, I don't know any magical skill that Victarion all of a sudden thought, but he just said, "Oh, rub my blood up with this motherfucker," and that's what it's gonna take. Now we know that Euron is being trained by the warlocks in magic, right? So we know that, but not Victarion. So I'll give you a crazy thought, and what would be crazy to me is if the Dusky woman is a warlock. Now I don't know if they're female warlocks or it's a male. I don't know. But we do have seen the warlocks change to little girls before, so we know they could do that. And them being described as pale and white and all skinny and all that, and her being the exact opposite would be quite a coincidence if that was the case. And if it was true, then she could have a tongue. And if she does have a tongue and that's just some glamour, then she knows everything that Victarion talked about. And the word dusky in the definition, if you look at the dictionary definition, means somewhat dark in color. But it also says shadowy. And shadowy says, when you look that up, it says not clearly seen or understood. That is what I'm saying. I'm just saying, not saying that's the case. I'm just putting that out there. So I think the horn does get blown. And I think Rhaegal is the dragon that will come, because it's already shown in the other chapter from Tyrion from the Winds of Winter that he was a dragon that was flying over the sea. So I think that Euron already has the horn bound. I think he's bound to Euron, who could be closer than we think. Now, I don't know or remember what happened, but I do remember back there was Victarion's fleets keep disappearing. Now, they could be disappearing, or they could just be linking up with Euron, who's waiting in reserve, and they could just be waiting for him, or he could be far away. It could be either or. Now, I believe that Euron jumps on Rhaegal, and I think that Moqorro's quote will come true, and the quote is, "The Lord of Light has shown me your worth, Lord Captain. Every night in my fires, I glimpse the glory that awaits you." And I think the glory that awaits him is to be burnt alive by a dragon. Now, I think that if Euron is in the ships and he's close by, I think it ends right then. But if not, I think that the dragon will fly off to Euron, and no one will know where the dragon takes off to. Victarion may meet Dany, and he may succeed in getting whatever he wants to get out of Dany, but I think after that happens, Euron will be flying the dragon, swoop in, and he will burn that ass. And that is how I think it ends for Victarion Greyjoy. So, thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you for sticking with me if you have. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Please thumbs up it. I'm trying to get 1,000 likes. I never had it. I never had it close to it. I would love to get 1,000 likes. I don't think it's a lot to ask for. So if you can help me out by thumbs up in this mug, please do. Please share it. Put it on your Twitter. Let your people know about me. You got any ideas you want me to do something, anything like that? Drop it in the comment section. You want me to answer a question? Drop it in the comment section. You know how I get down. You know I'm here for you, and I'm happy you here for me. So until next time, peace. And stay safe.
Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Teflon 316. Peace. Stay safe.